Alright, so today I wanted to talk about Earl Sweatshirt's new quick EP, Feet of Clay. I almost said Clay of Feet. Feet of Clay means, I actually have the definition right here. It means a fundamental flaw or weakness in a person otherwise revered. And that is kind of something that has, to me, kind of sums up Earl's whole kind of image and career. We really love Earl's flaws. We love his depression. We love how it's relatable. We love how he gives us his emotions. And that's no different on this project. And I want to start off by saying that the first YouTube video I ever wanted to make was Earl Sweatshirt Some Rap Songs, or at least the first one I've ever tried to make. And it didn't go well because I couldn't properly say what I wanted to say about the album, no matter how I wrote it, no matter what I wanted to say, because it was such an interesting piece. It was short, it was intense, the production is not something like we've seen, at least at the time, and I couldn't get my thoughts out about it. And today with Feet of Clay, I feel like I definitely will say, for my personal opinion, I like Feet of Clay a lot better, despite it being a bit shorter. I think the production on Feet of Clay finds a much more listenable sound. It's not as drowsy, it's not as drowned out or hazy as the production on some rap songs, but Feet of Clay is, to me, excuse me, Earl's real evolution of some rap songs. It definitely encapsulates, to me, the same style that we don't really see in Earl's earlier albums or work, that kind of just going off, rapping, flowing and going. Earl still stacks the metaphors and similes on top of each other in such a way that, in the double entendres, in such a way that the lyrics are just so dense in his writing. And it actually makes me want to see what Earl could do writing for others, but that might be further along in his career if he's not doing a lot of that now, or if he's not doing any of that now. But Feet of Clay, again, coming in at just about 15 minutes. The tracks are all short. In fact, they probably average right about 1:30, if that. And Earl gets what he needs to get done in each track. None of the tracks feel like they're misplaced. They don't feel like filler. They don't feel like they weren't well planned. Every track feels like it's important to this 15 minutes. The first track, 74, the kind of production, the kind of going on, I'm trying to vocalize the melody, is the way that it kind of cascades with Earl's flow, really sets the tone for the rest of the 15 minutes. And the way Earl, of course, again, just flows, and I've talked about, he's just been kind of going off lately. That was more on some rap songs where he's just kind of a droning flow, where it's just, constant and not really changing. In this one, it feels like he plays with the flows a little more. They do switch up some, I believe, especially on the Tis Tis Cookies and the 4N song. I feel like he plays a lot more with flow than he had, at least on some rap songs, which is really nice to see from Earl, because we know that he can do that really well, and not only stack the metaphors and similes and the really cool vocabulary, the imagery, but we know that he can flow and rap really well. The thing with this project that makes me excited, because it's not the Earl Sweatshirt project that I wanted in the first video I tried to make, that I'll never put out because I ended up deleting, but I talked about how I wanted to see a different side of Earl. I wanted to see a little bit more mainstream, a little less in this underground kind of sound. And if he was going to do the underground sound to kind of do work with the SoundCloud wave artists that come out, I thought his new kind of grungy sound and their loud trap aesthetic would go together really well. But that's not what happened here. We got a very similar kind of, feel that we would get from Earl. There's only 2 features on this. There's, apologize if I say this wrong, Mock Homie or Match Homie, and Mavi or Mavi. The second feature, the Machami feature on the last song, 4N, it actually is stricken from Genius. I'm not sure exactly why. It was claimed or something like that. Like, they can't put it on Genius. Genius says do not edit to add it. So it's a really weird to me, and I want to look further into that. And the Mavi feature is also really good, and they're not... The features that were on some rap songs were like a little less in place, like you didn't hear the verse as loudly or like as forefront as these features, and it's really cool to see Earl again allowing some people to kind of get in on his beats and work. I don't know if I have a lot else to say because it was such a short project, it being just 15 minutes. Again, it was a surprise drop, at least to me. I didn't know it was coming, and I think it was supposed to be a complete surprise on Halloween. It's Feet of Clay. It is, again, that means I'll read the definition one more time. A fundamental flaw or weakness in a person otherwise revered. And Earl is giving himself, as always, on this project. I wonder if we're going to keep seeing the small EP format. I like full-length Earl projects. I think he really, when he's giving himself in those projects, he puts a lot of work and time into the track listing. And not to say that doesn't happen here, but the track listing, the overall sound of the project, just how it works. And even though these moments, these 15 minutes, these 25-minute moments are great, and they're just that, they're moments, they're not these big, epic, just eras, if you will. You know, an album for an artist can be an era, like especially with Earl's compatriot, you know, or other odd future compatriot who's done well for himself, especially recently in changing his sound, Tyler, the Creator. Of course, Tyler especially goes through eras with his albums. You have the Flower Boy era, the Igor era, the Wolf era. You get some of that with Earl, but with these moments, it's more like glimpses. It's more like just quick views. It's not these full-length, you know, detailed documentations of what's going on in their life. It's just hey, here's a quick little peek into what is going on in my mind. And I want to see just a bit more from Earl in that way. I hope that these EPs are leading up to a full-length project, and otherwise, I brought up the you know, other members of Odd Future, Tyler, the Creator, Vince Staples. Everybody who came up on the Odd Future wave really has been separating themselves even more than they originally did when they first kind of split off and went to go do their own solo things. Even more lately, they're becoming these grand artists that push a vision of their own, and it's kind of amazing to see how a certain wave can make this impact, especially in music and on hip-hop, because with hip-hop being such a young genre still, the waves that are coming out with different artists, or the movements, are surprising, you know, how they can take a foothold, and especially when you're in the moment with them and looking back, you know, 5 years later, oh, this is why everybody's wearing this, or this is why people are rapping this way or doing their aesthetics this way. It's really cool to see how quickly people can gain influence from other creators who are not that far ahead of them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, please do the YouTube thing. Like, subscribe, comment, dislike, all of that. It helps me no matter what kind of engagement, and it makes me want to do this more. And if you guys really like the content, then yeah, definitely let me know what you think. And this was just kind of my quick jumbled thoughts on Feet of Clay. I've listened to it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times because it's so quick, and I definitely do like it better than some rap songs. So let me know which one you like better down in the comments, and thank you for tuning in. Have a good one.